Good morning, guys. Today we're going to be using our place value chart, which is a base 10. So we're multiplying by 10 or 100 or 1,000 and dividing by the same to look at metric conversions. And this is going to be simple, I hope, because the metric system is also based on a system of 10, like our place value chart. So I've drawn a line on the board which represents 2 meters. If you see, we start at 0, 1 meter, and 2 meters. I want to show you, or I want you to think about how many centimeters there might be in 2 meters. So if you're not sure, first you might want to think about how many centimeters there are in 1 meter. And we know that in 1 meter, there's 100 centimeters. And if you're not certain about that yet, you can use the place value chart or the materials that I posted about metric conversion. But in 1 meter, we have 100 centimeters. The word centi gives us that prefix tells us 100, or 100. So we have 100 centimeters in 1 meter. In 2 meters, we're going to have twice that, 2 times that amount. We're going to have 200 centimeters. So I've made a little chart up here. 2 meters, and I'm going to label it with an M, is equal to 200 centimeters. Now, how can we show that? What kind of equation can we use to show that? We can say 2 times 100 is 200. Now, yesterday we talked about powers of 10. What's another way we can show 100 as a power of 10? We can show that as 2 times 10 to the second power. Remember, 10 to the second power is just telling us we're going to multiply that number 10 by itself 2 times. And 10 times 10 is 100. So we could show conversion from meters to centimeters as multiplication by 100, or we can also call it 10 to the second power. If I'm going to convert from meters to millimeters, and milli means 1,000, as we kind of heard today in that video, milli means 1,000. So what do you think we might multiply by to go from meters to millimeters? If you said 1,000, you're correct. So I'm going to write up here 2,000 millimeters is equal to 2 meters. And we could write that as 2 times 1,000. And that equals 2,000. So we could also show that as a exponent, a power, a base with an exponent, and that would be 10 to the third. Remember, one hint, you can use the number of zeros to tell us what the exponent's going to be, but those zeros really are showing us 10 times 10 times 10. 3 factors of 10. We're multiplying 10 by itself 3 times. 2 times 10 to the third is the same as 2 times 1,000, and that will also give us 2,000. Now in the next problem, we're going to be using a number that's not a nice whole number like 2, but it's 1 and 37 hundredths. So 1 and 37 hundredths meters. How are we going to find what that is in centimeters? Well, we're going to use the same equation. We're going to multiply by 100. And if you notice, when we go from a larger unit like meters to a smaller unit, we're multiplying because there's many more centimeters than meters. For every 1 meter, we have 100 centimeters. So it's like on the first problem where we have 2 groups of 100. And remember, 2 groups of 100. When we see that multiplication sign, sometimes when we want to translate that into word form, we want to think of that multiplication sign as the word of. And another tip, we want to think of the equal sign as the word is. So we can translate this from a numerical expression or a numerical equation into word form. 2 groups of 100 is 200. And sometimes that ability to translate into word form is going to really help us. We have another problem here. We have, let's see. What is 1 and 37 hundredths times 100? You guys know this. 1 and 37 hundredths times 100. What do we do to a number when we multiply by 100? What do we do on our place value chart? Right now, I want you guys to do that on your place value chart. I want you to show me 1 and 37 hundredths times 100. That's going to tell us how many centimeters are in 1 and 37 hundredths meters. If you finish that up early, maybe try to figure out how many millimeters are in 1 and 37 hundredths meters. Okay.